Hey everyone, welcome to Fighting Over the Card Catalog, a snarky look back on young adult novels of the 80s and 90s. I'm Jess.
And I'm Steven, and I'm here to make my wife happy.
We're taking a journey to find out how many terrible, and hopefully some not so terrible books from my youth I can get my husband to read before he reconsiders this whole marriage. Hello, love.
Hey, babe. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah, I guess we're switching our recording schedule up. It's fine. Está bien. So this week, we read, Claudia and the New Girl, Babysitter's Club, number 12.
Claudia has always been the most outrageous kid in her class until Ashley Wyeth comes along. Ashley's really different. She wears hippie clothes, has 6 holes in her ears, and is the most fantastic artist Claudia has ever met. Ashley says Claudia has artistic talent too. She thinks Claudia should spend more time on her calling, in quotation marks, and forget about the Babysitter's Club. It's just a waste of time. The babysitters are sick of Ashley Wyeth and they think Claudia's a traitor. Claudia's got to decide either the Babysitter's Club or the New Girl. One of them got to go!
You do love an exclamation point. Yeah, so this book, we're really starting to get into the cult-like mentality of the club because it gets worse.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
That's too bad.
But yeah, you really start seeing it in this one.
Well, one thing I see is Anne putting people into a box about something and then leaving them in that tight little box until it's very convenient for her to take them out of that box. With no actual look at what the psychology of a true teenager would be like.
No, they're all definitely in their stereotypical little boxes. And I mean, that helps later on when, ghostwriters start coming in after number 32. And so, it's easier to keep the characters consistent that way. But yes, it's very one note.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't like it?
Well, I mean, it was just kind of there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it was a book. Some things happened. Were they exciting? I wouldn't say. Were they true to human nature? Not in all instances, no.
Not in all instances.
So
no.
I'll point those out when we get to them.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 being the best book ever to a Dementor's kiss of 10, sucking the soul out of your reading life, what do you give it?
Well, since you read part of it to me while we were driving, and I didn't have to spend too much time on my own first, I'd say a 5.
I also give it a 5.
Yeah.
But just that high because I enjoyed the sound of my own voice. No. So, in English class, they are covering Newbery Award-winning books. Right now, they're reading the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler and The Westing Game. 2 great books. Other classes are doing The Yearling and A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which are also great books. Tree Grows in Brooklyn is one of my favorites of all time.
Don't think I've read it.
You probably like it.
Yeah.
And the movie, yeah. Anyway, of course, Claudia isn't enjoying any of this at all because it's not art or babysitting. So,
yeah, I mean, like at the very beginning, there's like a spelling test or something.
Yeah.
And Anne makes every single word is misspelled somehow. In different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it shows like sentence. Is there something with you see her handwriting in sentences? It seems like there was one word in each sentence that was intentionally spelled wrong.
It could be in there or it could be in a notebook entry. I mean, you weren't reading this part. So.
Oh, I think it was a notebook entry, yeah.
And I mean, that could be in any book, frankly. So
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So during this spelling test, though.
But as I was seeing that, I'm like, there's no way this girl passed. I mean, she's misspelling words that.
Simple.
Yeah. There's no way that she's passed and is in the actual grade with the other kids.
Yeah. You don't believe she's in 8th grade?
No, not with that spelling. Although Although,
Unless.
I have seen... I have seen like nephews and what their work was like in high school in the little city I lived in of Elkhart, Texas.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah, I still see some fully grown, fully graduated people on Facebook that I'm like, how are you surviving in the world?
They pass them just to get to the next level.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, she's failing this test spectacularly, but we get an interruption, which is very exciting, as the school secretary enters with a new student, and Claudia instantly has a girl crush on her. Big old fashion alerts in this one, y'all. Ashley, the new girl, is dressed like a hippie. She was wearing a very pretty pink flowered skirt that was full and so long it touched the tops of her shoes, which I soon realized were not shoes, but sort of hiking boots. Her blouse, loose and lacy, was embroidered with pink flowers, and both her wrists were loaded with silver bangle bracelets. Her hair, which was almost as long as my friend Dawn's and was dirty blonde, was pulled into a fat braid, which, I might add, was not held in place with a rubber band or anything. It just sort of trailed to an end. But the amazing thing was that because her hair was pulled back, you could see her ears, and she had 3 pierced earrings in each ear. They were all silver and dangly, but none matched. Wow. I've got a crush on her. Not really. Okay, so she makes a big deal out of these hiking boots in the book. But if you look at the cover, they look like Timberlands.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think she was just ahead of her time because, well, I don't know, what is this, 88, 89? I forgot to look. But anyways, when I was in 7th grade, which is 94, 95, we were all wearing those, even little white girls.
89.
89, yeah. So it's not too far after. And then she's wearing bell bottoms later, and they make fun of that. And it's like, oh, those came back in my 8th grade, which was 95, 96. So actually it was just ahead of the curve.
Gotcha.
So anyway, so Ashley has already read all these books we've already mentioned. So she offers to do her own project on lesser known Newbery titles. And Claudia's like blown away. What kind of kid does that?
What kind of kid? It was something like, what kind of kid suggests assignments to a teacher? So Claudia gets to show Ashley to her next class. And while they're talking, she learns that Ashley is also an artist. She wants to be a sculptress. And there is a real life artist named Andrew Wyeth. And so Claudia's like, are you related to him? And she's like, I wish. But yeah, he's a real guy, apparently. Time for a Claudia fashion alert. I was wearing a very short pink cotton dress, white tights, and black ballet slippers. I swept all of my hair way over to one side, where it was held in place with a piece of pink cloth that matched the dress. Only one ear showed, and if I had put and in it, I had put my big palm tree earring. That sounds pretty dope, Claudia. So Ashley ends up joining Claudia's after-school art class, where they just so happen to be working on sculptures. And we get another Ashley fashion alert. A puffy white blouse, a blue jean jacket. What? Oh, puffy. I thought you said a puppy white blouse.
I wish.
What is a puppy white blouse? Is this some Dalmatian, one of the Dalmatian stuff?
Oh, no. Ashley DeVille? Yes. A puffy white blouse, a blue jean jacket, a long blue jean skirt, and those hiking boots again. Beaded bracelets circled both wrists, and she tied a strip of faded denim around her head like an Indian headband. So Ashley looks over Claudia's work in her portfolio and pronounces her to be really talented. And Ashley should know because she had studied at this famous art school in Chicago. And then Claudia looks at Ashley's portfolio and she's just blown away and her crush just gets bigger and bigger. So their teacher announces an art show coming up at the opening of a new gallery because apparently Stony Brook can sustain at least 2 art galleries.
Yeah, wow.
And this will be in 4 weeks, and they can all enter to win a $250 prize. Claudia doesn't think anything she's currently working on will work, and she doesn't have enough time to start a new one, but Ashley offers to help her. She's like, you gotta enter.
I mean, she had been working on this, what she called practice piece of a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And she had several people say it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why she didn't enter that. Oh, this is just a practice piece. Well, it doesn't mean you can't make it into an actual piece.
But I think if you're starting out, without it being in the headspace of it being like a, not performance piece, but exhibition piece, I guess.
Okay.
I can see not wanting to put it out there, but yeah, she could have, but I'll give her a pass. So Claudia sits for the Rodowskis, where, of course, there's a Jackie incident. He gets his hand stuck down the bathtub drain behind a locked door. So Claudia has to jump up on the doghouse to the top of the shed to open the second floor window into the bathroom. And then use margarine to release Jackie, his hand.
So one of those convenient boxes of hands.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be just every single book that Jackie's in will be some kind of mishap like this.
Number 20 is named after him. Christy and the Walking Disaster. But anyways, they get him out. Her and the brothers. Shay and Archie. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you don't really even know them. They're just normal, average kids.
They're very nice kids, though. So they all go outside to play, and all of a sudden, Ashley appears. She lives next door, apparently, and she wants to know just what the hell Claudia is doing. And she makes it really clear that she thinks babysitting is just a waste of time. Because this girl is strictly devoted to her art and makes Claudia question just how devoted she is to her art. Ashley asks Claudia to sit with just her at lunch. But Claudia has to tell the Babysitters Club first, because otherwise it'd be rude. Because they usually all sit together. And yeah, this is where we really start seeing that cult mentality. Claudia actually uses the word defected. But that's a really good word for her, so I'm proud of her. The two of them talk about their art, and then they go to an art show together at that other gallery right after school, which makes Claudia 15 minutes late to the Babysitters Club meeting. Nobody's happy with her, and Stacy's starting to get a bit jealous. So the Jeff Schaefer problems are continuing, and he ends up having to call Dawn from school while she's sitting for the Perfect Perkins girls. And so she has to load them up with their faces full of ridiculous makeup and go talk to Jeff's teacher because he can't get a hold of their mom. I wouldn't accept talking to a kid's 13-year-old sister.
No.
If I was a teacher. But
but if you can't get a hold of the mom.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. But it's BSC land, so the 13-year-olds can practically get married. They're almost adults. So anyway, Dawn and the girls get back after Mrs. Perkins, and Dawn didn't think to leave a note. You would think she would get in trouble for this, but she doesn't. Maybe she does with Christy off page, but so Claude ditches the BSC again, this time to walk downtown with Ashley to look for inanimate objects to be their subjects. When she realizes it's getting late, she calls Dawn to fill in for her. And she's not too happy about it, but she says okay. But when Claudia goes into bed that night, she finds a note under her pillow that says, "Everybody at school thinks Ashley is weird. Just thought you should know. Christy." That's hella creepy behavior.
Yeah, and it gets worse.
And it gets worse. Okay, I don't even know if I can call this next notebook entry passive aggressive or just aggressive. And we have one of our where they're just like handing the notebook back and forth, I guess, between them so they can write out a dialogue. The girls themselves. "Some people here are traitors, and you know who you are. Ordinarily, this notebook is used to record our babysitting jobs, but it's also for club problems, and we have a little problem right now. The little problem is a certain person who keeps missing meetings. It's a good thing we have an alternate officer because Dawn sure has had to take over the duties of our vice president a lot lately." Then Dawn chimes in, "But I don't mind being vice president, you guys." Back to Christy. Okay, so Dawn doesn't mind, but we do mind having a VP who'd rather be an artist. And then Stacy grabs the notebook, I guess. "Yeah, our VP used to be very nice, but now she never shows up at meetings and she hangs around with a person who wears bell-bottom blue jeans to school."
In all capital letters.
Dang, Stacy's bringing that heat. Hey, if you've been enjoying our show, please share it, tweet it, tell your friends and enemies. Word of mouth is the best way for podcasts to grow, and we would just really appreciate it. I know if you're listening, you probably have some bookworm friends from back in the day who would love to reminisce with us. Please consider rating us on Apple Podcasts and subscribing there, or at any of your favorite podcast places of choice. Come hang out with us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, all at Fighting Over the Card Catalog, and on Twitter at Card Catalog Pod, and me, personally, at Just Digress. And last but not least, check out our website where you can find all the things I just mentioned.
So, okay, they're really mad about a missing VP. Let's talk about what a VP does.
Let's talk about that. She offers her room and her phone.
A vice president is basically in charge of committees.
Yes.
How many committees have you heard them talk about?
I'm really surprised they don't have committees. Because, yeah, boards like this love a committee.
Right. But no committees that I've heard of.
Mm-mm.
So really, there's no other thing that they have to do.
No, it's her honorary title for the use of her room and phone number.
Yeah.
And food.
The other thing that they would have to do is fill in for the president when the president is gone.
But not even that, because that would be terrible for one thing.
Her missing meetings has no bearing on...
It has no bearing on her job.
Right.
I mean, on her titled job.
So Dawn sitting in means that Dawn sits in a different chair, maybe?
I mean, they all kind of sit on the bed anyway. Yeah, it means nothing. Nothing. And I bet she didn't even offer everybody candy.
Oh, but they take candy.
They do. I think we're getting into that one, maybe. But yeah, they spend most of the meeting bitching about Claudia and Ashley. And Stacy says that about her bell bottoms. And Marianne says, "She is so weird. She doesn't talk to anyone but Claudia. I think she's stuck up." And I'm like, Marianne, girl, a year ago, you were only talking to Christy. What are you talking about? Don't be a little bitch. She gets into a mean girl mentality real easily around the other girls, I think. Fashion alert for Ashley. She was wearing a long, all the way to her ankles dress with 3 rows of ruffles at the bottom. A strip of black cloth that was tied around her head. So there have been like 3 strips of cloth wrapped around somebody's head. Claudia's and Ashley's in this book so far. So the cult which is what I will call them now, basically verbally attacks Claudia at her locker with Ashley standing right there, asking her if she's like quitting the club because they just like to know if she is. And she's like, no.
That's classic passive-aggressive behavior.
Yes, that is for sure. And then Claudia goes and misses another meeting and unintentionally lies to Stacy at the same time. And Stacy writes this scathing note in the notebook.
Yeah. So she had said that she was going to do her homework
at the library.
And met Ashley on the way.
I think so.
Ashley said, we have to get your project, what you're going to do for the show, for the art show. And so we need to go do this. And so she did. And then she called Dawn and tell Dawn that she wasn't going to make it. And
she tells her why.
She tells her why, because I'm with Ashley.
Because
like,
Claudia's
that's not going to get back to Stacy.
Yeah. And so I understand Stacy's upset there, for sure.
Yes.
But then that makes them all pull some mean girl shit, leaving mean notes all over her room and hiding and eating her snacks and short sheeting her bed. I don't understand what that is.
So it's basically making it where it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. It stops like part way up. So when you get into your sheets, your feet don't go all the way in.
I don't understand that. Is it like, okay, let's say this is the top of the bed. This is good audio, I know. Right? So pretend this is a headboard. So you have like top of the sheet, right? And as it goes down, and then does it fold back up over?
It folds back under and then under the mattress to make it so that when you get under the sheet, it's like this. So when you get under the sheet, your feet don't go all the way in.
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
Good audio.
Yep.
So instead of having the sheet like this and then fold under, they take this piece, fold it up like this, and put it under so that it can't
under the sides under the mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then fold it back over so it looks like normal, but it's over the regular blanket like this. Look it up.
I'll look it up. That didn't. Okay. Oddly, you can't make that work with a bed and Amazon envelope.
So here's the part where I call complete bullshit on human psychology.
Okay.
So they basically went through all of her stuff, pulled out all of her snacks, ate what they could, and then put all of it back in the wrong in places where it's not supposed to go.
Right.
Wrote her mean letters, and short-sheeted her.
Including one blank note, because Christy thought it would be like really mindfuckery to like make her think they wrote it in invisible ink or something.
Yeah. That's the point when a teenage girl is going to scream and say, fuck those bitches, and you will never hold another meeting in my house again.
I wouldn't have done that.
Seriously?
Seriously. I would have been too scared of losing all my friends.
That's some mean girl bullshit then.
It absolutely is. Yeah, but that's how it works.
I would have had a grudge against somebody for the rest of my life for that.
Yeah. But Claudia does realize, it is part of her fault. Even at this point, she realizes she has a part in all this, that she's not completely blameless.
Right. But in the end, is she really hurting them?
Well, no.
Not
but
at
she's
all.
just
But they are
respecting
still
their friendship and their business. Because this is a business, goddammit.
But then again, she also has other priorities in her life other than the Babysitters Club. But she's still, although she's not making the meetings, she will still babysit if they need her to.
Right.
But the Babysitters Club cult is not allowing other influences
to
even take a month precedence over the Babysitters Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Welcome to the cult. So Claudia does have another sitting job because the Radowskis, job for the Radowskis has been scheduled for a long time. And Ashley comes over again, pretty much just to rain on Claudia's parade, telling her what a waste of time and talent this is. But they get into a fight about what it means to be a friend. After Ashley leaves, Claudia realizes that she hasn't been a good friend to the Babysitters Club.
Yeah, I'm glad they actually showed her sticking up for herself.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
I was
telling
proud of
her that and realizing that she doesn't really like you as a friend. She likes you as
a colleague,
a mentee. What is that? Not
mentor.
Not her as the one she's mentoring.
Yeah,
that's what she
mentee
wants.
is yeah.
Yeah, she wants an intern.
An intern. A lump of clay to be molded. Oh, that was good. Good job, me. Self high five. And then Claudia decides she wants to sculpt Jackie's head.
Right.
So she comes back the next day to sketch Jackie, and she finds Marianne sitting, and they're civil to each other. And they're almost getting friendly until fucking Ashley shows up again. And she gets really mad that Claudia's subject is Jackie and that she's not using any of Ashley's advice. But yeah, Claudia stands up to her, and Marianne is impressed. But Claudia still tells Marianne that she's going to have to miss that day's meeting because she's so behind on schoolwork. Which she is, and she does. And so at home, Claudia makes a few to-do lists. She takes care of her friends list right away.
So she made a list of lists that she needs to make. That was the first thing she did.
But when she got the other list made, she got to cross off that list, which is very satisfying. So I don't blame her. I love a good list. She calls Ashley to try to explain how busy her life is, but Ashley just doesn't want to hear it. But then she calls and apologizes to Stacy, who does gladly accept. And she has Claudia look under her pillow to find a note that she left, another note that says, "In the breadbox of friendship, you are a crumb." Boom!
Drop the mic.
Way harsh, Ty. Way harsh. Do you know that reference?
Way harsh?
Way harsh, Ty.
No.
Have you seen Clueless?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
that's when Ty says, "You're a virgin who can't drive." And Cher goes, "Way harsh, Ty." Anyway, so Stacey tells her to ignore the note and throw it away. And they agree that they need to talk in person. And then she calls Christy and apologizes. And Christy acts like she doesn't believe her at all. Which, I mean, fair. So she decides to pull herself out of the art show. She just doesn't think she has enough time with trying to catch up on schoolwork and just starting the Jackie head. And she breaks the news to Jackie that he won't be in the show, and he's all disappointed, but he says he loves her anyway. Aw, he's a good kid. And then Claudia actually makes it to a meeting, and she gives a very heartfelt apology. It's very good, and Marianne cries, of course. And then Claudia's art teacher was sneaky, and entered her sculpture for her as a work in progress. And Claudia's real nervous that people are going to laugh at it, but her family and all her friends come to support her. Ashley, of course, wins first place, but Claudia gets an honorable mention, and her teacher says she would have won had she finished it. Everyone is very proud of her. One last fashion alert for Ashley. A long knitted vest over an even longer shirt, which she was wearing tails out, over a skirt that didn't match either the vest or the skirt. There were those hiking boots again. So Claudia's back to sitting at the lunch with the Babysitters Club, but she asked Ashley to join them. And she actually does. And she and Christy bond over calling the cafeteria food smelly and disgusting and all that. And Claudia knows she and Ashley will never be best friends, but maybe sometimes friends. The end.
Thankfully.
We go into chapter 6 of Anne's biography.
Okay.
Schoolyard days. So we basically just learn about how perfectly perfect Anne was as a child. It says things like, Anne usually got up on her own. Anne had always been an early riser, for her parents made a rule that she couldn't wake them up until after 6:30 in the morning. In 3rd grade, Anne did very well that year. Though she did most years, she was in the highest reading group. In fact, she was in the highest everything group.
Huh.
She liked school. She liked the work she did at school, but not the social part of it. She felt uncomfortable being away from her home. She didn't like being with kids she didn't know, which, I mean, as a shy kid, I kind of get.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she did have some friends, so once you have a friend or two, it's not that bad. I didn't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically.
But she says, school is more than learning, and that may have been one reason I didn't like it very much. If school really were just a place to learn, to read, and to write, I would have been fine, but it's a social place too. But then she also felt the tension of doing very well. Of course, her parents wanted her to get good grades, but Anne put most of the pressure on herself. She refused to settle for a grade that wasn't top-notch. All that pressure made it even harder, really, to enjoy school. Around this time, Anne developed an on-again, off-again nervous stomach, which still troubles her. She has high anxiety, is what she has.
I did as well in school, and although it drove me to excel at a lot of school things, it wasn't good from a personal perspective.
Right. And then were you good in everything?
Pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I was that way, but I just wasn't great at math. And so that gave me horrible anxiety. Though, I mean, I got C's, but C's were terrible.
Well, see, that's pretty much what drove it, was when I found something that I didn't excel at, then I had the anxiety until I learned it. Yeah.
I could never learn it well enough to get higher than a C. It just didn't stick in my brain. But back at home, her mom had gone back to work as a preschool teacher. But don't worry, she was always home when her girls returned from school. They had lots of slumber parties. See, okay, it talks about how Anne and her friends adored slumber parties. It's like, in the rest of this chapter, it makes it sound like she has no friend, or just that one friend, Beth. But no, these might be as small as Anne, Beth, and 2 of their friends crashing in sleeping bags on someone's bedroom floor, or as big as 20 girls taking over the rec room in Beth's basement. That's an insane amount of children.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So, I mean, she had a social life-ish. Next time we get into her babysitting in real life. So what else are you reading?
Let's see. I finished Lamplighters, the D.M. Cornish book on, I think it's a series, but it doesn't actually say the name of the series here, so I'll have to look that up in Goodreads. And they only have 2 books at the library, so I don't know if they
Bastards.
have others and they just don't have them in, or if it's an ongoing series. That's what I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Now, Countdown by Deborah Wiles, kind of a period book from the 60s, during the time when there was a lot of talk with Khrushchev, where him and Kennedy were basically threatening each other with nuclear annihilation.
Good fun.
And Kennedy basically told him that we have enough nukes to flatten Russia 30 times over. And Khrushchev said, well, we have enough to flatten the United States once, and that's pretty much enough.
He's not wrong. So basically, they're just like wagging their own nuclear dicks at each other. Yeah.
And so she's, got other anxieties. She's got an older sister in college who's, we really haven't gotten into what she's up to yet, but apparently
there's something.
She's around with the hippie crews, I'm assuming. And she has an uncle living with her who was in the Korean conflict.
Right.
And has shell shock, PTSD. And her father is a pilot at, I think, Andrews Air Force Base. Anyway, just outside of Washington, D.C. So, of course, the uncle's pointing out that, when the bombs come, they're obviously going to be coming to Washington. We need a bomb shelter. And at one point, it's trying to dig a bomb shelter in the front yard. And
in the front yard?
Yeah. And the parents were gone. And the girl who's the main protagonist in the book is freaking out, because she knows that that her parents are going to freak out.
Yeah.
And they basically blame her.
Oh, no.
Her uncle ends up like I don't know, almost having a heat stroke or something, passing out on the lawn, and they blame her for letting him do it or something like that.
How old is she?
I don't remember, but youngish. Like I think she's 11 or 12.
Okay, no.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been fairly good so far.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still working on this book number 4, that Harry Potter. He almost got killed by a dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dragons, huh?
Yeah, there are dragons. There's 4 different kinds in this book. There might be more. I don't know. But he's able to get an egg away from the dragon by calling his broomstick, because you can fly on broomsticks.
No.
In these. Yeah, he called it to him, and
that's how he got away from the Hungarian horntail.
How did you know? Boy. So our next book is going to be Little Women, because I love rereading Little Women in December. Even though only the beginning of it is Christmas, it doesn't matter. It feels like Christmas the whole way through. And I like to watch the 94 version at Christmas. And this year, the new version's coming out, which I am so excited about. So yeah, putting those Little Women hashtags out there while this movie's coming out. Hey! Ha! Are you excited for it? Have you seen the movies?
Yes.
Okay. Have you read it?
No.
Okay. Are you excited? It's definitely on audiobook. So.
It's out.
You'll find it somewhere. Well, it's a December read. I know other people like to read it in December. So thanks so much for listening, everybody.
Wait time is about 18 weeks. So can we do it in 18 weeks?
It won't exactly be December then.
Number 18 on 2 copies. Nope, won't be able to do it.
We'll find it somewhere. I'm not worried about it. So thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a great week. We're rereading the books of your childhood.
so you don't have to.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.